first act after birth is relying on mother and sucking milk. At that time, no idea who is that person. But simply, you see, they just, the mother side also, tremendous sense of care, affection, compassion. So the bond, closeness between mother and child, not by law, not by religious teaching, but by nature. Compassion from birth in our blood. These are there. Not only at the beginning, but a whole life.
Compassion. Richard Davidson told us that people who do a specific form of meditation on compassion and loving kindness can increase their happiness levels to a greater extent and for longer periods of time, even than people taking powerful antidepressant medications.
There are specific meditation practices that have been around for more than 2,500 years, which are explicitly designed to cultivate qualities like compassion and loving kindness. The person we've tested the most in our lab is a person by the name of Mathieu Ricard. He has been a Tibetan Buddhist monk for more than 30 years. He also holds a PhD in molecular biology. And we have looked intensively at Mathieu's brain, both at rest as well as when he is intentionally generating these states of compassion. So there's no obvious change in external behavior. You know, he's just sitting there, and then we give him the instruction to begin the compassion meditation, and all of a sudden, it's like, you know, parts of the brain are on fire. These are areas of the brain which are extremely important for understanding happiness and well-being. And so we are, for example, currently doing studies where we are having people who've never meditated before, and we're having them do very simple exercises. 2 weeks of training in this simple compassion practice does change the brain in ways which are similar to, although not nearly as well defined as what we see in very long-term meditation practitioners. There is some evidence to indicate that we actually change the gross structure of the brain, literally the size of particular cortical areas in the brain change in their thickness. We, through intention, can change our brain.
We ask people to count their blessings on a regular basis. Say every Sunday night you sit down, you write down 5 things for which you're grateful, and kind of try to contemplate that. And we found that the students who counted their blessings once a week, every Sunday night, became happier. A couple studies we did, we asked people to commit acts of kindness on a regular basis. You know, they're going out and they're putting change in parking meters, and they're, you know, helping their friend with homework, or was visiting someone in the nursing home, or, you know, really doing real, you know, concrete behaviors. And it seems to me from our experience that the acts of kindness so far have been the most effective.
Mother Teresa, a symbol of compassion, opened her first home for dying and destitute people here in Kolkata, India. Andy Wimmer is a volunteer at the home.
I was a bank and computer manager for many years and a quite ambitious fellow. I wanted to become the youngest bank director there, spoiled with a good income, used and spent a lot of money, and had a good life actually, enjoyed the life. Yeah. I used to waste a lot of money on fashion, for example. I was quite a fellow with quite, you know, into fashion and all these things. But it is not important anymore. I always felt that there is more in this life, you know, than just going to the bank and having a good salary and having a good career and maybe a wife and children, and that's it. It can't be. Life is such a precious and beautiful thing. There should be some more, you know. I met someone who worked in the home for the dying, and he said, I show you that place, and if you like feeling helping us, then you're welcome. No? Bon appetit. I remember when I came first into the home for the dying, the first thing I saw was a young dying boy, maybe 15 years old, in very bad condition, and I had to feed him, and I don't know, I fed him and he ate with great difficulties, but then he opened his eyes and looked at me, and I thought, so that's it now, you know. So it was like a flash, it was like a small enlightenment. You learn a lot from these patients we care for. For example, acceptance and tolerance also. So we pick the people up usually from garbage dumps and from railway station platforms and admit them in the home, and then with basic medical care we try to save their lives. But the most important is to show them that they are loved by God, that they are not forgotten, that their life is precious, that someone cares. So we do everything by hand, but there is a tremendous sweetness in taking someone's burden up a little bit. Just to lift this little bent body and take that burden away a little bit and help him to carry it. My life has a meaning. You have someone, a dying man in front of you, a dying young man, and he asks for a glass of water. It's just very little. But it's so important to give him this glass of water. It's such a symbolic act even, you know. I got this life. I got my parents, my friends. I was never really sick. I had always enough food to eat. I am the first one in my generations which never experienced a war. For me, my life is like a loan given from God, and I will give this loan back, but with interest. And that's what we do. You serve your brother in front of you who is in need, and it gives yourself a fulfilled, happy life. Perfect, no?
Gratitude, compassion, caring, love, these are to me what I would call spiritual emotions, and they make you think of things bigger than yourself. If you only seek your own happiness, it can be kind of a selfish thing. But once you move to the spiritual emotions and worry about the well-being of the world, your life grows. You care about something bigger than yourself. You, in a way, can transcend your own life, your own death, by caring about these things that are bigger than yourself.
If each of us even spent a smidgen of time each day actually practicing to cultivate happiness and also to cultivate other virtuous qualities like compassion and altruism, the world would really be a better place, and we'd all be transforming our brains in very positive ways.
And it's not about, oh, I must change my life totally and cut off from my past and I'll be a better person. It's not about that. It's because the trick is to be authentically you.
We should really be thinking of happiness as a skill, which is no different than learning to play the violin or learning to play golf.
The formula for happiness is not the same for everyone. But the good news is that the things we love to do are the building blocks of a happy life. Play, having new experiences, friends and family, doing things that are meaningful, appreciating what we have. These are the things that make us happy, and they're free. And with happiness, the more you have, the more everyone has.